Yo, what's going on, Nerd Nation? It's your boy Chris, back with another Nerds at 9. Should have adjusted this before I came on. It's good enough for now, but what's going on? Good to be back. Obviously, not going to be doing episodes on Wednesdays anymore, so haven't been on here. Had to get my light on here. Haven't been on here since Tuesday, so a little all over the place right now. Actually had a birthday. Oh, not mine. Give me 1 second. Jeez, terrible start to the evening. But that's how it goes sometimes when you're going live. Needed some water there. Sorry about that if you're with me live. Embarrassing moment. Got a little tongue-tied, but we're back. I'm going to get into what I'm actually talking about. The MLB came to an agreement, so that is great. If you're an MLB fan, going to have a full 162 game season starting April 7th. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to talk about some more moves happening around the NFL, and a little bit of NBA stuff is going on tonight. You know, the Ben Simmons thing. So before I do that, I wanted to shout out Recreation right there. Kind enough to let me use his music, set some vibes here. So if you're rocking with it, go ahead and give him a listen, give him a follow somewhere. Other than that, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps out. It really helps me. It really helps all of us here, Average Sports Nerds. But yeah, the big news, like I said, MLB owners and the players came to an agreement. I mentioned it. They'll play the full 162 games starting on April 7th, so a little bit less than a month from now. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bunch of doubleheaders. Well, I shouldn't say a bunch because it's only, a couple weeks later, or about a week later than the normal start time. So not too much of a big deal there. I did just hear, that maybe Apple might have had something to do with this because they wanted to stream some games on Apple TV. More money. Owners wanted to get in on that money. So, definitely could have been the driving force. Whatever it was, whatever, made the sides come together. I'm just glad. Obviously, you guys can see I got some Nationals gear behind me. Just, overall DC fan here, but I've probably been to more Nationals games than anything. Redskins football team, Commanders, whatever they're called now, the Wizards. I've been to a lot more Nationals games, so I'm glad to have baseball back. Some other things in the CBA that I thought were interesting. The postseason is going to be expanded to 12 teams. I know there was some speculation about 14 teams. I think the players were kind of out on 14, but I guess they compromised. They're going up to 12, so we'll still have to see how that works out, with the seeds and, how the postseason tournament ends up playing out. But I think that's good for the game, personally. Just more playoff series. The playoffs is like the most important time. It's when you get the most fans, the most viewership. So obviously, it's probably a good thing for the league too. And then the NL is adopting the DH. So designated hitter, going to be universal, both leagues. No more interleague play where the AL team has to come and the pitcher has to hit against the in the NL ballparks, or vice versa, and the NL team goes, they get to use a DH. They're all just going to use DH now. I think the players actually push for that, just creating more jobs, more hitters, pitchers having to do less work. Well, not less work, but you know what I mean. Just being able to focus fully on pitching, and obviously, I thought I liked the strategy of the game. I will say that I do appreciate the NL, well, at least in the past, how you had to have some strategy. When the pitcher came up, he he could bunt, advance the runners, kind of help himself. And, I thought, there was some pitchers that were really good at that. Even just guys that could go up there and make contact. And sometimes, when the pitcher accidentally hits a home run or something, those moments are great. So I'm a little sad about the universal DH, but I understand why the players wanted it. So I'm not too upset. And then obviously, my first question was, well, season less than a month away. When does free agency start? When can they start trading, doing all these type of things, negotiating? I can, start picking my fantasy baseball team if, But apparently it's supposed to just start immediately as soon as the CBA is actually ratified. And I saw on ESPN it said that the owners and the players ratified the deal. So I assume, I saw some reports saying as early as Thursday night, which is right now, we could start getting some news on some free agent deals going down, and it's going to kind of be a frenzy, just all out. So this is going to happen. The NFL free agency is set to start here soon, I think, around the same time period. So we're going to be getting NFL news, MLB news, players moving around. It's going to be wild. If you're, like me, I've talked about it a little bit before about how I just love the team building aspect of professional sports and trying to, use assets to acquire the right, combination of players, not just, getting the biggest names or, not just going for the cheapest guys either, but getting that right combination of players to try to come together and win the championship. That's my favorite thing. So we're going to get MLB and NFL free agency at the same time. I think that's going to be great. It might be a lot to keep up with. So if I miss some stuff that you guys want me to talk about, because I'm sure I will, just let me know in the comments, in these videos or on Instagram, anything like that. Don't be afraid to reach out. I definitely am open to all type of feedback and anything, you want to talk about. Tailor the content to that. But moving on, I did want to talk some NFL a little bit. My Commanders went out and made a move. Obviously, last episode on Tuesday, I talked about how Aaron Rodgers was going back to Green Bay. And then after that, Russell Wilson got traded to Denver. So the quarterback dominoes are starting to fall. The only real guy that's still available, I guess, that, people really view as a franchise quarterback would be Deshaun Watson. And, apparently we're going to get some news tomorrow from the latest reports I saw about his legal situation. He could be indicted. The charges could be dropped. So a lot of things could happen tomorrow, apparently, with him. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. But after that, there's not really too many great options out there. So my Washington Commanders went out and traded, I believe it's a second and a third round pick, a second and 2 third-round picks for Carson Wentz. I got to check the exact details, but I know it's a second and something about a third next year that can become a second if he plays 70% of the snaps. Kind of like the similar style of deal that they did with the Eagles last year, except for that was, a second becoming a first. This time it'll be a third becoming a second. So decent price tag. At first, I saw it reported as 2 third-round picks, and I was definitely on board for that. But now we're talking, potentially 2 second-round picks. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of the compensation we gave up to get him. I will say, he is an upgrade over Heineke. He definitely has the arm strength to get the ball down the field to Terry McLaurin, to Curtis Samuel, some of the other guys we have on the team. But just, like I said, he's an upgrade over Heineke pretty much in every way. I will say that. Heineke he had heart, man. I give him props. He, with his talent and arm skills, and he probably shouldn't have been starting in the NFL, but he got the most out of his ability. So it's nothing against him, but we're just not going to be able to go where we want to go with him. Now Carson Wentz, I don't think where I want to go, and where most fans want to go is the Super Bowl. Obviously, like that's why you play. So to get there, I don't think Carson Wentz is necessarily going to do that. What I'm hoping for as a fan, we still go out and maybe draft a quarterback with our 11th overall pick in this in the first round. I think that could be a good move for us. Maybe develop him. He doesn't necessarily have to start week 1. And then hey, Carson Wentz, he has had a little bit of success. He had the 1 year, about 11, 12 games, however many it was before he got hurt. He did play really well, so he's at least proven that. He was the number 2 pick. So, I mean, he has talent. Like, he can throw the ball. I don't really question that. It's, a lot of times it's decision-making. It's holding on to the ball, trying to find that, deep pass down the field. So, it's a tough situation. Like I said, I put it in the description here. I'm not sure really how to feel about it yet. I want to see, what we do, moving forward. Like I said, if we pick a quarterback in the first round and, obviously we couldn't get Russell Wilson, we apparently made an offer. For one, he didn't want to come here. He had a no trade clause. So even if the Seahawks had agreed to it, which I don't know if that's the case or whatever, he wasn't coming here. Like, it's over for that. Aaron Rodgers was going back to Green Bay. It's obvious now. I didn't know at the time, but it's obvious now. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's not really that many great quarterbacks in the NFL. So we'll see what happens. I do. Our team got a little bit better. What I was gonna say today, but whenever they made the trade, our team did get a little bit better. So I'll take that for right now. We also are expected to cut safety Landon Collins. So didn't really like the contract when he first signed here a couple years ago in free agency. I think they said it's going to cost us like $9 million in dead cap, but I think he was making like double that. It was going to count against the cap if we kept him. So I'm kind of glad we're moving on from him. Hopefully we get somebody to replace him because, he wasn't terrible, but I don't know. He doesn't really fit today's NFL. He's more of like a inside the box safety. We kind of need somebody that's going to be able to cover safety. We need a safety that's going to be able to cover tight ends. Sometimes, move into the slot, run with the receiver up the seam, do those kind of things. He just really wasn't able to do that. So, especially for what he was getting paid, we can find somebody else to do that, I think. But I'm not going to talk too much about the Commanders. Obviously, that's my team, so I can go all day. I got thoughts for days. I've been talking about it for the last couple of days. But outside of that, the Chargers made a trade today for Khalil Mack. I haven't seen the details on that one yet. I've seen conflicting reports a little bit all over the place on that, so got to figure out what the exact compensation for him is. But I think it's a solid move, getting a solid defender. I'm not quite sure how he's been doing up there in Chicago. I haven't really been keeping up with him. They haven't really been in the public eye too often, but big name player on the move there for sure. So we'll see how that works out. Last things I wanted to talk about real quick. Ben Simmons returned to Philly tonight. I had it on right here next to me. Cut it off right before I came on, but got a text from a good friend of mine, Sixers fan, and he said, you might have been right. James Harden's living up to his reputation of not showing up in the big games. And, they were down 21 points at halftime. I'm looking at it right now, midway through the third quarter. They're down 25. James Harden at halftime is 3 for 15. He's actually 3 for 16 now. So I'm not going to take a victory lap now. After the game, I wouldn't have texted, any of my friends or anything. I told you, this, even if he played good tonight, this wasn't even my point. I'm waiting for the playoffs with James Harden. He's obviously This was a big game, even though Ben Simmons isn't playing in the game. The fans have been on him. I was enjoying some of the chanting. I think it's good for the game. Having villains, having guys that that the other team's fans hate, like to like a respectful level of hate. Like we just want to beat you. Like I'm not endorsing anybody to go too far, do the most. Get like you guys know what I'm talking about, but just that level of hate, like the Celtics, like they hated the Lakers, like that's just, you need that level of, like, if these teams meet in the playoffs, that is going to be a series that you want to watch. So even though the Nets are killing them right now, it's only a 25-point game in the third quarter. I say that because we've seen all season in the last few years in the NBA, like, leads are never safe with the three-point shot, the way these teams shoot it these days. So I could say all this and they come back and end up winning the game. So that's kind of why I'm saying that. Like, even if Harden, steps it up in this game, I just don't expect him to do it in the playoffs. I'm worried about Ben Simmons. I thought he would be back by now. So he's not playing tonight either. So it kind of puts a damper, right now on the Nets. There's not that much time between now and the playoffs. Especially Kyrie still hasn't been cleared to play home games. I'm not quite sure what the holdup is on that. I thought they were changing the mandates. I will have to figure out what's going on there. But I'm starting to get worried. They need to play together. Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. Like, they need to get the chemistry down at least for a few games before they jump out there. Because right now they're in the play-in. So I mean, that's not even a sure thing. One game, team could come out and they get you one time, and then boom, like, you're out. Like, so they got to get it together before they get to those playing games. And then also, once they get out of those playing games, the top 4, 5, even 6 seeds, I think, all the way down to the Cavs in the East right now is good. So for the Nets, I think, we got to see Ben Simmons on the court soon. For the Sixers, it's the question, is James Harden going to perform when the team needs him? And, that's yet to be seen. With this team, at least. I think, it's already been seen. That has been my stance, but, I'll let y'all, relax. I'll let y'all get a little confidence. Maybe he does step up. Maybe if he does, y'all can win the championship. I say y'all is like anybody that's rooting for the 76ers to win the championship, rooting for James Harden and Embiid. Maybe the Sixers can win, but it's going to take James Harden stepping up, and he's not doing that tonight. That's for sure. And then last take I wanted to just talk about real quick was Russell Westbrook. He went, well, not even him at first. It was his wife. She tweeted some stuff about, fans calling them out of their name, calling him Westbrick, and how it's just been tough for them. I think she tagged Skip Bayless in one of the tweets. He's, if you know Skip Bayless, he's been calling him Westbrick for years now. But now he's in LA. Now he's not playing good. Fans have been calling him it. I think how other kids are. Other kids at school probably calling his kids that. So he said something about it too. And my take on it is, man, like, first off, like, just, you got to have some thick skin as a professional athlete. They're not saying anything that, is completely just, like, out of bounds, just way over the line. Like, I did hear something, like, some people, death threats or something. Like, obviously, like, that's way over the line. That's not cool. But, like, just someone calling you Westbrick, or, people call it, like, LeBron, LeBrick, or LeBum, or, like, it is what it is. Like having, like, I just don't think like for all the wives of professional athletes out there, like, it's not the thing to do to be like, stop calling my husband this. Like, he's a professional athlete. Like, people are gonna do it. And then especially like it's like when you're a kid, and the other kids, they know that something kind of pisses you off a little bit, and they keep doing it. They keep doing it just to get a reaction out of you. And now that people know that he doesn't like it, they know that his family doesn't like it, he said he doesn't even want to bring his family to the games. Like that's like, hey, like it is what it is, man. Like I mean, he did bring some of it on himself by not playing so well. So I mean, but like I was saying, with the kids just poking fun at you, it's even though these people are adults now, we all still kind of have that little kiddie mentality in us. At least when we go to games, like they're gonna poke fun at him. They're gonna call him that even more. They lost to the Rockets last night as well. Westbrook wasn't good again. I didn't see if they were calling him Westbrook or not. I'm sure they were. LeBron was also terrible in this game. I'm not going to get into it too much, but 23 points on 26 shots. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to go too much on him because, it is what it is. He had 50 on like 30 shots the other night. So one bad game, but the Lakers are falling in the standings. It's a good thing for them. The 10, 11, well, 10, the Pelicans pretty good, but after that, the Blazers, the Kings, the Spurs, these teams just aren't very good. So the Lakers will be in the play-in, but they're awful, like from top down. So with that, I'm gonna head out. It is what it is. Like that's kind of the theme of this. We're gonna, do a lot with MLB free agency, NFL free agency, NBA playoffs fastly approaching. James Harden talk, LeBron talk, Russell Westbrook. So the sports are never stopping. I'm never going to stop. I actually won't be able to get on here tomorrow night. I'm going to go watch some good high school basketball, state championship games. So that should be fun. I will be back on Monday, same time, 9 o'clock. I might try to get Miles on here with me. I'm going to talk to him because we've been arguing about KD and LeBron being who's the best scorer between the two. They both average the same amount of points for their career. So good debate there. I think, I got to get him on so we can talk about that because I don't want to just, taint the argument with just my side first. So as soon as I get him on, we'll talk about that. But like I said, I'm expecting big news between now and the next time I come on. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Don't miss anything because if you blink, you're going to miss something right now. And with that, keep nerding it up. I always got to say that. And I'll be back on Monday. Have a good weekend.